Glenn, are we good?
Yeah.
Then we're good. Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Random Show. I'm Kevin Rose.
I am Tim Ferriss.
And we are here in not so sunny San Francisco out at the Embarcadero, which is a street that goes along the water right next to the Bay Bridge.
And we're at the Ferry Building.
Right.
Very famous
That's
Ferry
very
Building.
important.
Where they have amazing farmers markets every Tuesday and Saturday.
Yep.
One of the top 10 farmers markets in the country. So we'll be talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Long overdue Random Show.
We've been doing some traveling. You and I have been not in the same city at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I missed you by a couple days. I think when you were coming back, I was leaving.
I missed you, Kevin.
Oh,
We did miss each other.
But we have a new little kind of format for the show. Not a new format, but we wanted to do something at the top of the show where we talk about one book that we've been reading, one website that we've been enjoying, and also a person that we just think is doing really interesting things that you might be interested in following online on Twitter or wherever.
Yep.
So, let's kick things off. Who goes first? You, me?
You
All
go
right.
first.
I'm going to talk about the book first. We'll do the book first. My book of the month, it's not out yet, but it's available for order right now on Amazon, is Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. And he is the CEO of Zappos.com. And I read this book. He sent me an early copy, and I think it's phenomenal. Have you had a chance to read it yet?
I did. I read the whole thing.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool. The cool thing I like about this book is that Tony talks about not only his kind of early beginnings as a childhood entrepreneur, which is just entertaining. Like he had a worm farm that he expected to get rich off of and a bunch of other little random stuff. But he talks about his first startup, Link Exchange, which was a huge deal on the internet back in the late 90s.
Must have been,
Yeah, late 90s. And it was sold to Microsoft for like $200 and some million. And everyone looked at that company and said, oh, that was a big success. That was an awesome, really cool startup. But in reality, behind the scenes, there was a lot of things that he did wrong.
Yep.
And so he really catalogs his life and basically everything that he did wrong at that startup, and then everything that they changed and how they had to kind of multiple times kind of change the business model of Zappos to figure out what worked. And it really just kind of illustrates all of the pain and suffering that an entrepreneur has to go through to build a successful business.
Yeah, it's a really good book, and what I also enjoyed is that it's entirely in Tony's voice, so it comes off as very personable, and
it's easy read.
And he catalogs, I should say more than catalogs, narrates, takes us through the journey of everything from funding to problems with investors to hiring, firing, the toughest decisions,
Building a culture,
and keep in mind also, aside from Link Exchange. Also had an exit, although he doesn't view it that way, with to Amazon for, at the time, what was valued at $1.2 billion in stock. So basically his records thus far for exits is adding $100 million of value per year to the companies that he's involved with, which is
crazy.
Amazing. And he's a very centered, humble guy, which is sadly uncommon among extremely, extremely successful CEOs.
Yeah, absolutely. As I was reading through it, I found myself like a combination of like laughing at some of the crazy kind of positions that he put himself in, and then taking notes at the same time, just because there's so much valuable information there, especially when it comes to building a culture. I think that, one of the struggles I've had as an entrepreneur, and being my first time like with a big company with Dig, building it from 0 employees to 70 plus, is kind of figuring out how to build a really happy, fun culture after you hit a certain number of employees.
Right.
I think it's really easy. Everyone knows what you're doing when you have 10, 15 employees, but once you start getting into multiple streams of development and it goes to 20, 25, 30 on, it's like you really have to have a foundation, a set of principles that you're driving your company by, and Tony has done a really good job at showing you kind of a blueprint for what any new entrepreneur would need to do. So I highly recommend it.
Agreed. Let me flip back to my notes. So I've read quite a few books recently. Most recently finished Rework by the guys over at 37 Signals, which is also an outstanding book.
I've wanted to read this.
I want to talk about, though, a different type of book, and this is fiction. So I like reading fiction before I go to bed. And Neverwhere by Neil, I never remember how to pronounce his name. It's either Gaiman or Gaiman, Gaiman. I originally came to know him through the Sandman comic book series. Incredibly well done. And has also written American Gods, but Neverwhere is specifically about this fantasy land a very dark but hysterical underworld under the city of London. It's like a parallel world that nobody knows about above ground, above London. And I'm about, I'd say 150 pages into it, but just absolutely fantastic, incredible storyteller. So I'll keep it short. That is the book that I'm really enjoying right now. So,
website. Yes. So I'm going to an oldie but a goodie website that I've enjoyed for years and years. And the reason I'm doing this, we'll talk about this later, but the woman that founded this site actually was speaking at the conference that I was at, Webstock in New Zealand. And I saw her speak, and I just really enjoyed watching her talk. And I think this is one of those little underground sites that not many people know of. So it's called We Make Money, Not Art. And it's we-make-money-not-art.com.
Okay.
And she on purpose makes it extremely hard to remember and spell, and just like, it's kind of her way of saying, like, unless you really know about this, like, you don't need to be coming here. And so it's all about just different art shows around the world. So she goes and travels and views all these interactive art shows, and so she's constantly like reviewing and checking out all the really cool new interaction design stuff that's going on. We make money, not art.
So it's not we make art, not money.
Right.
It's we make money, not art.
Right, exactly.
Okay, understood.
So it's just, it's one of those, right. You know what I'm saying. So you go there, and she's not only an amazing web designer, because her design is awesome, but just the things that she covers and the interaction design and videos and interviews that she posts on the site with various different artists out there, I just find it as just a fun thing to add to the RSS reader, and just like, page through it, and at least twice a week I find something really cool to check out there.
Cool. Mine is going to be very short. The site that I've been using for a few months now for a very simple function, but useful function, is tripit.com. It's based here in San Francisco, and the most useful function for me, I'm kind of done with social networks at this point. I don't need any more of them. What it allows me to do, though, is whenever I get an airline receipt with my itinerary, I can forward it to, I think it's plans@tripit.com. And it will automatically then take the flights, the times and everything, connecting flights, and put it into iCal.
Does that work?
It works flawlessly every time. It's
until
amazing.
It doesn't work.
It works flawlessly until it doesn't work, but I haven't had a single problem. Within, I would say, 20 to 30 seconds, it's in my calendar and done. It's fantastic.
So is this your new kind of replacement for Google Calendar or anything else that you use?
Well, I use iCal and Google Calendar, meaning my assistant uses Google Calendar. It syncs with my iCal. And then
is that built-in syncing, or is that like third-party stuff?
I have used BusySync up to this point. I've been having some issues with it recently with the latest version, so I'll probably just go to using CalDev, just the inbuilt syncing compatibilities. If not, I will probably go back to using Spanning Sync, which worked very well for me for a long time. One of those three will work.
Yeah, I'm looking for just like a good calendar system, and I think that, I don't know, Google Calendar is probably going to be what I'm going to use. Yep. I mean, it just works so well with the iPhone, and also
SugarSync, I've heard Google also phone. For syncing with the iPhone as well. SugarSync works very well.
All right, cool. So on to person.
Yeah.
The person I'd like to profile this time is Reid Hoffman.
Yeah.
Reid is awesome. He was one of the early PayPal guys, and he was also the guy that started LinkedIn. But more importantly, he was an angel investor for a long time. He's now
very successful angel investor.
Very successful angel investor. I always kind of called, and maybe I read this somewhere, I don't know, but I called him like the oracle of angel investing, because he was just so good at not only evaluating companies, but just picking the winners. If you take a look at the companies he's invested in, I mean, everyone is
or the boards that he's on.
He's on the board of Zynga and a bunch of other really big, awesome companies. But the cool thing about Reid is that he has a lot of videos online that you can check out. There's Charlie Rose interview with him that I thought was phenomenal. There's a bunch of TechCrunch interviews with him. Just ways that he goes about evaluating businesses and features that he looks for in successful startups. So I think that he's on Twitter. He doesn't tweet that much, but we can put the little lower third of his Twitter account. But I recommend following him and checking out some of his videos. You can learn a lot.
He also has at least one article on TechCrunch about how he approaches angel investing.
That's what I was talking about. That was good.
Yeah, and he's also a very interesting guy in the sense that he's not just solely focused on business and nothing else, which is, I think, fairly common in Silicon Valley. I believe it's either a master's or a PhD in philosophy from Oxford as well. Just a very, very fascinating guy.
Yeah.
So my selection for this video is also somewhat of a well-known figure within Silicon Valley, but not necessarily to the general public. Marc Andreessen.
Yep, Marc is awesome.
I've had the good fortune to meet him on one occasion. We've had some communication.
Give background on who he is, what he's done.
So Marc Andreessen, beginning with, well, perhaps even before this, but Mosaic web browser. So helping to develop the first graphical interface for web browsing, first widely used browser that is, then to Netscape, then the exit with Netscape, and has had at least one other exit for more than $1 billion. Opsware. And he's also on a number of different boards and is a very successful investor in his own right, but is also working on Ning.com or Ning, among other things. Also, an extremely good writer on his experiences and chronicled a lot of it on his website, which was PMarca, the PMarca blog, PMARCA. Most of the posts, last I checked, had been taken down. Some of them are archived. So if you search his name and archive blog posts or search Internet Archive, you should be able to find at least some of them. But his blog posts are very much what I would consider, to some extent, timeless. They don't expire. They cover things like hiring, firing, growing a company. I mean, very reliable principles that he's used more than once. So I would put him very high up on the list.
Absolutely. I think that, like you, I've had some, he sits on Dig's board, so I see him once a month, and I think he's just brilliant. One of the things I really like is, like you were saying with his blog posts, is that, did you see the one that he did recently about like super angels versus venture capital and like the time to raise money from each of these individuals?
No, he was taking a hiatus last time I looked at his blog, so if he's back on it then.
No, it was really cool. And he just started a new venture fund too, Andreessen Horowitz, which I highly recommend to anybody looking for funding, like any entrepreneurs. Go meet with those guys because they're both brilliant guys.
Yeah, very much so.
So, we said fan in the background. Say hi.
So
traveling.
So before we get to traveling,
yes,
not to miss
any. Why is this sitting here? Is that what you're going to talk about?
No, I wasn't going to talk about this because we can touch on cooking in a little bit. But I wanted to. Glenn had suggested maybe we talk about New Year's resolutions. So, any status updates on New Year's resolutions?
I have to look mine up. Go ahead. No, I know.
All right. So I have a few things to clarify and an update or two. So Glenn, right here?
Yeah.
All right. Want to make sure I have eye contact. So after I announced that I had this ambitious for me goal of hitting a 500-pound deadlift in the new year, there were some comments along the lines of, what an arrogant son of a bitch, just bragging, yada, yada, yada. We'll get some B-roll. 500-pound deadlift, honestly, is achievable to many, many, many people who are watching this right now. It is not otherworldly, and we'll get some videos of women deadlifting a great deal more than that.
Dude, I'm impressed. If you can do a 500-pound deadlift, more power to you, dude. I don't know why anybody would be upset with that.
No, it's a decent deadlift, but people thought I was using the number to like show off.
Oh, to be like, I can lift 500 pounds.
No. So one of the athletes I came across in researching for the new book was about a 130-pound high school girl. Looks just like the girl next door. I mean, does not even look particularly impressive as an athlete, and she could deadlift 405.
Dude, this sounds like your kind of woman.
Maybe so. Good hamstrings. Important. But that thoroughly emasculated me and was part of the reason that I decided to try to get to a 500-pound deadlift. So I've been making a lot of progress with that. Been meeting with some amazing coaches to improve my technique. For those of you who are interested, slowly moving from conventional deadlift, which is the knees inside the arms, to outside the arms, or sumo deadlift. It's a shorter pull. It allows me to keep my back straighter. In any case, I've gained about, let's say, 80 pounds on my deadlift since our last video. So
wow.
I'm on track. I expect that rate of progress to slow, and I'll have to deadlift less frequently and do more assistance work. But in any case, making good progress on that.
Either that or just get on the juice.
Pomegranate. It's the key to deadlifting success. Yeah. You're only on your fourth cycle of Deca? You're doing pretty
that's
well.
right. As you can tell, I'm on the roids.
You should see if his calves are like 25 inches around. They're incredible.
Nice try.
All right.
Yeah, dude, don't make fun of that shit. I got beautiful, breathtaking calves, Glenn. So let's talk about mine real quick. I don't know what I have that I've actually done. Mine.
I think that tells us all we need to know.
No. I got my vitamin D level up, which is good. I'm not 50 to 70 nanograms per milliliter, but I am in the 45 range. I don't have anything to talk about other than travel, because one of the things on my list was travel.
Let's talk about travel. Go.
Travel. So since we've last had a podcast, I traveled down to New Zealand and spent a week and a half out there. Went out there for the Webstock conference in Wellington, and flew into Auckland and hopped over to Wellington. Spent a few days there. Awesome, great people, a lot of really cool entrepreneurs working on some fun stuff. And then from there, took a ferry from from Wellington over to Picton, which is the South Island. Mm-hmm. And the South Island is like the island where all the crazy Lord of the Rings shit was all shot, or most of it.
Yeah.
And we went down there and did a bunch of really cool things. Went with Daniel Durka, my old creative director at Dig, and we basically spent almost a week renting a car and just driving through the entire South Island, just doing one big-ass loop. So to not have this podcast go on for a couple hours, we talked about coming up with like our top 3 things that we liked from our travels that we were both gone, and like list those off. So if you ever do have a chance to make it out to New Zealand, highly recommend. Number 1, bungee jumping. It's awesome. Here's some footage of mine. It was crazy. It was 43 stories high. And
Nevis, right?
Yeah, the Nevis. And it's funny because people were like, "You didn't even look scared when you jumped." And it wasn't that I wasn't scared. I just thought I was already dead. Like, it's funny because like you're about to do this bungee jump. I'd never done anything like this ever in my life. And we're like standing there and I'm like, "Okay, it's your turn to go out there." And as they're hooking you up, you're like, "I'm dead. I'm dead. So why should I even be scared? I'm dead." Yeah. It's hard to explain.
No, I did. Bungee jumping is infinitely scarier to me. I've done bungee jumping once and skydiving 3 times now. Infinitely scarier than skydiving.
Really?
Yeah. Because with skydiving, at least when you start, it's either static line or tandem, and you don't have a choice. It's kind of like you're going by. Whereas with bungee jumping, it's a countdown, and you have to bend your knees and jump off, and it is as close to committing suicide as hopefully anyone will come. It's scary. It's really scary.
Yeah, it was fun, but I would definitely do it again. It's all pretty highly regulated there. Everything looks super, legit. So it wasn't like it was kind of like some guy on the side of the road hooking it up. Mm-hmm. Next thing, definitely visit Queenstown. Definitely visit Christchurch. I mean, Christchurch is beautiful. Little tiny streams going along. I mean, the amazing flowers. It's the middle of summer there. The lamb dishes were awesome. I killed probably 10 lamb while I was out there. I ate the shit out of some lamb. That stuff is good.
They have plenty to spare. There are a lot of them over there.
There's more lamb than there are humans there.
A lot of lamb jokes at the expense of our poor Kiwi friends.
No. I appreciate it. The lambs that gave their lives were very tasty. And then definitely drive. Don't just fly from city to city. See the countryside. Yeah. There's streams like every quarter mile. I mean, amazing stuff.
It's beautiful.
Glaciers, awesome.
And if you want to do something in Queenstown Queenstown is beautiful. They're the Remarkables. That's where a lot of the Lord of the Rings was shot. Check out Canyon Swing. We'll get some photos or B-roll of that. It's insane.
Yeah, it is insane.
We have a fair amount to cover, so check out the Canyon Swing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
If you really want to terrify yourself. All right, so I was in South Africa, my first trip to Africa, and I was there for close to 4 weeks. I was there for a while. I went there with my brother first, and then I stayed on, continued to write, explore, meet with a lot of sports scientists. There's some amazing sports scientists and athletes there. So my top 3 picks would be primarily in Cape Town, at least the first, is climbing Lion's Head. So Lion's Head is a very famous hike and peak. There's a small plateau, and you can see all over Cape Town, the ocean side, the city side. Do it at the 3/4 moon. All right. So if you do it at the full moon, it's too packed. It's a traffic jam getting up and down. If you do it when it's 3/4 full, plenty of light to come down. You go up as the sun is setting and come down by moonlight. It's amazing.
Really?
Just breathtakingly beautiful.
Did you take any pictures while you're out there?
Yeah, I don't have any pictures of Lion's Head. I have pictures of some of the other stuff. Second is great white shark diving.
I did this?
Yeah.
Because you were talking about doing it.
Yeah, so I did this in Gansbaai, which is with a G, Gansbaai. It's Afrikaans. And if you watch Planet Earth and you see the footage of the great white sharks breaching the water and taking these seals out, that is exactly where I was. And so we got to see great whites this close up.
No one should do that.
And not a good idea I would not recommend, even though there's excellent surfing in South Africa. While we were there was a man from Zimbabwe who in chin deep water was bitten in half by a 16-foot great white.
Dude.
This about a half hour after we tried to go surfing, and they were out of boards, fortunately. So there are a lot of sharks. There were 8 great whites spotted that same day at a surf beach. So
Well, you're chumming the waters with blood.
well, no,
They're coming.
Whoa, no. When you get in the cage, they are. But when you're surfing, I mean, hopefully no one's
You
chumming.
guys are like, we don't know why there were 8 great whites, but you're dumping buckets of blood into the water.
No, not on the surfing beaches. That'd be very
Same
poor planning on the part of the business bureau. All right, and then last is safari, and I do have some photos of this. Incredible experience. I really actually did.
Safari,
no,
that
but
was
hold
fun.
on. I did not have that much interest in doing safari. I was like,
you see some
I'm
zebras
going
and
to
you're
see
like,
a
"That's
bunch of
cool."
stuff from 300 feet away.
Right, then they
don't really
run,
need
and
it.
you're like,
So
"That's
I ended up
amazing."
going to a place called Sambona, Sanbona, which is lesser known. It's in more of a desert climate. And driving in, we were very skeptical, my brother and I. But we saw cheetahs. We saw lions.
away?
And like as far as Glenn is from
Well, you were
us.
feeding them.
No, we were not feeding the lions. That's how you get killed. We were in open Range Rovers. There were no doors on the,
Holy
no
shit.
windows on
See,
the Range
this
Rover.
is some other shit
Hold
you
on.
shouldn't do.
So, hippopotami, zebra.
Hippopotamus, dude.
Dude, plural. Come on, man.
Okay.
Anyway.
I don't know how many you saw.
It's all right. There were multiple. Thank you. And then
It just sounds funny.
it
Hippopotami.
does sound funny. Eland, springbok. The list goes on and on and on and on.
Did you
and
eat
on.
anything tasty?
Elephants, springbok are
You had
delicious.
Springbok.
Yeah, the antelope. Springbok is delicious.
Really?
Springbok steak.
I would think it would be gamey.
It is delicious. If you have the eland, that's really gamey and kind of gross. But springbok steak is delicious.
What kind of sauce does one serve that with? I mean,
Springbok sauce?
Was it just straight up
Springbok A1?
You can't get that in the States. I've never seen Springbok.
No. You probably can find it somewhere, but I wouldn't eat it. It has to travel from Africa. But it was delicious. And what was
Ooh, how was the tea?
tea?
Rooibos.
Oh, rooibos was great. I
Did
mean,
you
it's
have that
not.
there? That's from Africa.
Yeah. Rooibos, which is red bush tea.
Did you harvest it yourself?
No.
I would have been breaking off the little shrub. Did you see them out
Africa's
there
a
in the
big
wild?
place. I didn't see any in the wild.
Interesting.
But in at the safari, just as a side note here, so you can go to, let's say, Kruger National Park, do an unguided drive, etc. The most important thing you can do, in my opinion, is to go out and see the wilderness with a good ranger. We had an incredibly good park ranger.
Can you recommend anyone if someone's going there?
I will have to get the name to Glenn. We had a fantastic ranger, but we learned so much about the bush, so much about tracking. It was just unbelievable. So I really recommend considering some of the lesser known safari spots because you'll get more attention. So Sambona was a really outstanding experience for both of us.
Sweet. Did you bring back any tea?
No.
Dude, killing me. All right, let's move on to cooking.
Cooking.
So we are at the place where the farmers market is, and inside of the ferry building right now, there is a ton of. You can come here anytime. You don't have to come here when the farmers markets are in town. And there is just a bunch of stores inside here that actually have a lot of the produce that the farmers markets do carry. They buy it from them. And then they also have just like amazing things like these mushrooms here. Yeah. I just had an awesome hot dog. Now, you know
Kevin ate everything he was supposed to show on the video.
We got B-roll of it, dude.
Oh, you did? Okay,
yeah,
good.
I told Glenn, I came outside, I'm like, Glenn, I'm hungry as shit. This hot dog is looking good.
Prather Ranch.
Prather Ranch. Organic, wild cow. Just kidding. They like track it down. Like, this is a wild cow. Get him.
Ethically raised, humanely
slaughtered. Like just really good quality beef. And this is one of the best hot dogs I've ever had in my life. I won't say that Glenn took a bite. Your girlfriend does not watch this. Does she watch this?
Why would I take a bite of a hot dog?
That's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
So, what else did you have? You had the had the Frog Hollow.
Yes. The
blueberry
the blueberry
tart.
little tart, which
Delicious.
We don't have any pictures
Yeah.
because I ate that shit. It
So
was
Frog
good.
Hollow, if you come here, get some Frog Hollow pastries with fruit. They are incredible.
Yes.
Almost everything here is local as well.
And then one other thing I want to say, right across from that Frog Hollow place is another little bakery inside here. Get the cannelé. It's this little tiny thing, little tiny pastry. The inside of it tastes like custard and is chewy and caramely on the outside. They only make 12 a day, so they were sold out today. Otherwise, I would have gotten one. Highly recommend it. Super tasty. Trust me, write that down. No, it is good. You haven't had it yet.
No, I'm just laughing because I talked to you the other night, and you were like, and I was like, wait a second, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, I'm running on a treadmill.
Dude, you got to. Got to
Anyway.
keep the scales in the right direction.
I know.
Hey,
This is true. So here we go. This is from let's see here. Far West Fungi, and there is a store for everything in there. There's a store entirely dedicated to olive oil, for example.
I'm just showing you.
All right. So this is actually the head of a fern, and this would be one example of our little selection bucket. This entire thing is $12. These are just regular old white button mushrooms. This is lion's mane. This is going to be a little more difficult for me to cook than some of the others. It is very, very absorbent.
How much did you know about mushrooms before you asked them? Be honest.
Very little. But
Okay.
that's the cool part.
That
I'm
is
not
cool.
trying
They
to
will-
pretend like I know much.
No, they will teach you.
No, you spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes with anybody here. They'll tell you exactly how to cook what they're selling. They'll tell you exactly how to get the best results.
What
So
are
this
these
is
guys
very
right here?
I don't know what those are.
Do you know how did they ask you did you find out how to cook these?
You can actually, what's nice about this basket, because I was like, you know what, this may be too hard for me, is you can actually saute all of these. So you chop them up into uniform pieces, throw some olive oil in, some garlic, saute it for 5 to 7 minutes, just turning it over, making sure it's not losing too much moisture. You can put some water in, and then throw in some balsamic vinegar at the very end, and you're done. That's it.
So one thing I will add on to that, my friend that comes here every single weekend, Daria, she has a website that's all about farmers market and how to cook these vegetables.
Good
Check
photographs,
out,
too.
Great photographs. Check out summertomato.com and for some ideas on how to cook.
And so 3 other things that you may find useful if you are cooking meat, which is very easy to cook, at least for people like me who are rather disinclined to cook. Otherwise, good entry point. Get a good cast iron skillet. It's a fantastic investment for cooking meat of any type. Consider getting a salt slab. So you can get them at Sur La Table here, but it's actually a thick slab of salt. Looks like a cutting board, and you can cook the meat on top of the salt slab or serve it on the salt slab, and it gets
we gotta
absorbed.
go to this place after
Yeah,
we're done
it's
with this.
amazing, and it's pretty cool. If you're kind of a crappy cook but you want to impress guests somehow, not a bad way to go. Then last but not least, if you need one type of seasoning for just about any type of meat, Montreal steak rub. It solves just about any problem that you could have. Put it on before you cook the meat.
I'm going to add one more to that I
All right.
like that you can get at that mushroom shop. It's the sea salt that has the truffles in it.
Yes.
It's a truffle sea salt.
White truffle sea salt.
It's good
is
on
awesome.
anything. This was black truffles, but it's
Okay.
still good.
Yeah, I use white truffle sea salt and tarragon on
Oh, I
scrambled
love
eggs.
tarragon.
On
Oh
scrambled
my
eggs.
God,
so
dude,
if you're
tarragon on
if
anything is
eggs are
good.
making you if you're really bored of eggs in the morning, just throw some tarragon and white truffle sea salt on it. You can get both at Whole Foods, and problem solved. Delicious.
Dude, what is up with tarragon? Like, I didn't even know what this existed until one day I was like eating this
know.
chicken salad, and I was like, how is this so good?
Suggestion to guys in particular, just because I give you less credit than I do the ladies generally. If you want to learn a little bit about cooking, just go spend $30 on really good spices and herbs. Have somebody walk you through the section and buy some staples, and man, it opens up an entire universe of options. And you don't have to spend the last months. And that's a really easy way to sort of get your foot in the door, dip your toe in the water without freaking yourself out. Like if you try to make a fancy sauce or something, forget it.
Little toe in the water.
Little toe in the water.
All right, that's it.
All right.
I guess we will do another one of these very soon, as in we don't know because this is the random show. Yeah.
Indeed.
Do we have anything else to say? Shout outs
No.
to your mom or anything?
Shout outs to the Rose family
Yeah.
and
Thank
the
you.
Ferris clan
And to Glenn.
and to the Glenn clan.
Let's go get a hot dog, Glenn. We'll see you guys.